Good evening. Thank you once again for inviting us into your home. Thank you for joining us on this episode 30 of Drunk Doctor Who.
Yay!
What are we drinking?
Russian standard vodka.
Vodka and sweet tea.
Mine's neat, although I had some screwdrivers earlier, but then I ran out of orange juice.
Your drink is neat.
Russian standard, the best vodka. Followed closely by Tito's.
Tito's is
good. Alright, tonight we watched Troughton, the second Doctor's first serial, The Power of the Daleks. Power of the Daleks.
Static electricity of the Daleks.
Yeah. Wait, what are you doing?
You got
Yeah, okay. Anyway,
Rebels.
This serial, all 6 episodes were missing. And there's a new animation company, I believe Canadian, I'm not 100% sure, maybe strictly British. But they have undertaken, apparently, to animate all of the missing Doctor Who episodes. And they're even animating the episodes which exist in serials with missing episodes that have not thus far been released. So with Doctor Who, Power of the Daleks, this was their first one, and they have 2 discs. The first one is in color. You can see it in color. The second one is in black and white. We watched the black and white because it is the way it was originally aired, and we want to see it that way. But they also do it in color, so it's more accessible to modern kids who may not know what black and white was. But anyway, I had never seen this in animation before tonight. In fact, I'd only watched the reconstruction because that's all that was available for the longest time. Of course, this is the first time you've seen it, and so you've seen only the animation. You didn't watch the reconstruction. But it was really nice, and while the animation is slightly stilted, they do get Polly really well, and they get most of the characters really well from what I've seen of the reconstruction.
It's a very cartoony looking animation. It's
except the Daleks, of course.
Lower budgeted because it's kind of, frame by frame, a lot of mouth movement, not a whole lot of facial animation.
Right.
Expressions don't change very often.
They don't do Ben any favors, but they do fairly well on everyone else.
I really recognize Ben.
They do fairly well on everyone else, and you know what? I don't care. It's miles ahead of the reconstruction. I will take it any day of the week.
Much easier to follow than reconstruction.
Much better to watch and easier to follow.
Sense of flow and scene transition. Right,
and the same company is doing, what's the other one they're doing? Well, they've already done the Macra Terror, which is in the same season 4 of Doctor Who. And that comes out November 19th here. It's already out in the UK. And they're working,
Not October?
No, the Macra Terror comes out in November. November 19th here.
For some reason.
Yeah, I think it got pushed back. And they're working on the Faceless ones. It looks like, with the exception of the Highlanders, which is completely missing, and it's in the very next serial we're going to see. Highlanders.
There can be only one.
Not exactly. But anyway, with the exception of the Highlanders.
You ever watched?
Oh yeah. Trust me, I've seen all the movies.
I think we've talked about it.
Yeah, I've seen all the movies. I think I showed you the movie, didn't I?
No, I watched it.
Okay.
It was much younger.
So with the exception of the Highlanders, it looks like they're going through sequentially.
You ever watch the Highlanders cartoon? Like the animated Highlanders?
No.
It was pretty great.
No, although
the guy with the green armor and the red hair.
Although I understand it's better than the 4th and 5th
the sword
movies.
and chopping it. It is awesome.
It's got to be better than the TV show. The TV show was awful. Anyway, so with the exception of the Highlanders, was the very next serial, which we will watch reconstruction.
Can be only one. Can be only one. Do they decapitate people?
Okay, it's a bloody war. Of course they decapitate people.
Speaking of violence, this serial is very violent. It didn't start off that way. There's like 1 death per episode until the last couple, especially the last episode. So many people died.
Okay, wait, hold on.
This might have been the most violent serial we've ever had.
Okay, possibly.
Per capita, per episode.
Alright, hold on. All right, let me finish this.
All right.
So, besides the Highlanders, which is the next serial, which is the one we're going to actually, which we'll watch reconstruction hopefully next week. The underwater menace and the moon base were found, and the Macro Terror, which is serial 34, comes out November 19th, and we will hopefully be able to pick that up and watch it before we do the Doctor Who on Drunk Doctor Who on that.
Mm-hmm.
The Faceless ones, which is 35, comes out next year. So we'll watch that one reconstruction, and we may have to come back around to it whenever that works. But it looks like so far they're going through and they're doing them more or less in order, hopefully to finish off this season so it can be released on Blu-ray. Like the other ones I have on Blu-ray and the other ones that are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That said, it's 6 episodes, and it was aired. Hold on.
It's
not updated. 6 episodes.
Packed full of plot, action, deception,
Betrayal, intrigue, all that stuff. It's a really good serial.
It was super good.
It was good. Alright, so, hold on. If I can draw 6. 6 episodes. Okay. And it aired from November 5th, 1966 to December 10th of 1966. Companions were Ben and Polly, the antagonists were the Daleks, the Rebels, Bragan.
That's the guy that took over governor.
Janie.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was Janie?
That's the girl that was blackmailing the scientist about the dead guy.
Yeah.
She was working with Bragan, with the Rebels, and
anyway,
scientists.
I really, really hope that this company continues making these from now until they're all made. And I will buy the DVDs and then I will buy the bloody Blu-rays to support this company animating everything that's currently still non-existent in animated or proper form. And we will get all the Blu-rays on here and we'll get all the DVDs on here. And I will toss out the reconstructions that they do this, and that is awesome. I will support them because I want every episode to exist, at least in this format, if not actually found.
This Sweetie's not very
I
good. think it's Gold Peak.
Oh, the tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's because you cut your vanilla vodka with tea.
Well, that should make it better.
No, the stuff I had the other week makes it much better. The Mike's Harder strawberry and
I put vodka in sweet tea before, but this sweet tea's just me.
Okay. All right. Anyway, okay. So this is the first serial for Troughton, the second Doctor, the one who looks like Mo from the Three Stooges there.
With the recorder.
And he, Ben, and Polly wind up on Vulcan. Wait, did we decide if that was a planet?
That's like a moon of...
I thought it was a moon of Saturn.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure. Might
something
be
in the Earth's constellation.
in the solar system.
Yeah, because they're colonists from Earth.
Well,
in our solar system.
They could be in another solar system.
But then there'd be 2 Vulcans. It's also a species.
Forget the Star Trek race. Forget the Star Trek race. We're talking about like things we know.
Right. So why would they name 2 planets Vulcan?
Okay.
If one's also a moon of Saturn? Mercury?
There's lots of Mercury.
There's a lot of
there's Mercury on the planet.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's a moon of Mercury. I don't even know if Mercury has a moon. I don't know. Okay. So they go to Vulcan, which we think is either a planet or a moon of Saturn or Jupiter. We didn't bother to look it up, and our knowledge of astronomy is not that great, apparently.
No knowledge.
I have some. Alright, so they end up on Vulcan, and there's a colony there, and the colony is mining Vulcan. But apparently there's a whole bunch of problems within the colony of rebels who want to overthrow the governor. Very very old British style system where you've got a governor and all that.
Assistant governor.
Well, I mean, we saw that with Puerto Rico too, but the U.S. does. It's one of our few remaining colonies, territories, along with Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and there's one other stupidly obscure one I can't think of at the moment. But anyway, so they end up on Vulcan, and there's a bunch of mercury pools.
Do you think those territories will ever become states?
Puerto Rico, possibly. The others, there's not enough people there. They may eventually.
It's like Hawaii's just a group of islands, but it's a state.
Well, because they had enough people.
Rhode Island's a state.
Okay. According to the Constitution, you have to have 20,000 people or something to be able to apply for a state.
That many people are in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Puerto Rico has that many people.
Yes, and they have had the opportunity several times to apply for statehood.
They don't want to be a state?
They've rejected it like 52 to 48% every time.
Huh. Do you think they'd want the benefits? Like, aren't there more benefits to being statehood than there are?
Yes and no. While they're a territory, they don't have to pay income tax.
That's nice.
So that's nice for them. But at the same time, they don't enjoy
like
full
state funding and stuff.
Right. At the same time, they don't enjoy full representation with congressmen and senators. So you figure they'd eventually want to become a state, but they have not as of yet. Eventually, they'll either spin off into their own country or they'll become a proper state, but they're still sitting on the pot, you know?
You think they'd become an independent country?
It's possible. I mean, when the United Kingdom started spinning off its... when the British Empire started spinning off its territories, it said, here, you're now Saudi Arabia. You're your own country. Here, you're now India and Pakistan. They divided Indian territory into Pakistan, which was the Muslim part, and India, which was the Hindu part. They said, here, you're now Australia, you're now a country. Here, you're now Canada, you're now a country. And they eventually dismantled the British Empire. They did that. They still have certain small pieces of it, like the Falkland Islands and Gibraltar. They gave Hong Kong back to the Chinese. They still have bits and pieces, but they more or less dismantled their empire.
So for Puerto Rico to become an independent country, they just vote on it, and then the U.S. government would be like, okay. Because Texas, when it tried to succeed, it started a whole civil war.
No. The Civil War was started by other states, mostly the Democrats fighting to keep slavery, whereas the Republicans were trying to abolish slavery. It came down to the election of Lincoln. When Lincoln was elected president in 1860, several states, as a result, Democrat states in the South who had slaves, voted to secede, and they created the Confederacy. Texas eventually seceded and joined the Confederacy, but
Nation
it was not because Texas seceded that caused the Civil War. It was because several states seceded when Lincoln was elected and sworn in, because they didn't want to. They knew he was trying to abolish slavery. No, Puerto Rico as a territory could try to go for independence. If they did, the United States would have to pass a resolution through Congress and go up to the president that would allow them to secede. Same thing for Texas or any other territory. I don't think we would mind them seceding, because they're just A, a territory, and B, no one wants to fight a civil war anymore over crap. I mean, slavery was a big issue. Slavery was the freedom of men. Slavery was a righteous cause.
Do you think that's the main reason?
That doesn't really exist anymore.
You think that's the main reason of the Civil War was slavery?
It was the underlying cause of everything. It's wrapped up, it's intertwined into states' rights, but there would have been no stomach in the North for a civil war without the slavery issue. In fact, the South had many early wins, and the North would have sued for peace and lost a stomach for the war had it not been for the slavery issue. And then if any state like California or Texas decided to secede today, odds are that the rest of the country will let it go because no one wants to fight other Americans over something as silly as whether or not they're part of the United States. The whole issue for the Civil War and the length and the longevity and the fierceness of the war was slavery. Because slavery, a fight between brothers in the same country, a civil war, is horrible. It's an abomination. But one of the few greater abominations is slavery.
So what do you think about...
How the hell did we get on this topic?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
We're 15 minutes into this podcast. We don't even know how we got here. All right.
We're talking about Vulcan and whether or not it's a moon of Saturn.
Oh my gosh.
So we're still on the recap of the first episode. They landed Mercury pools.
Okay.
They ran into the...
Well, the doctor runs into the
Earth
examiner. And immediately the examiner is shot, assassinated.
Our first death of the serial.
Right. Many deaths.
One death for this first episode.
Okay. So the examiner is assassinated, and the doctor takes his little badge, the little tin badge, like a deputy, you know.
He stole.
Well, he looted the
and
corpse.
Lied.
You loot.
The
doctor lies. Get used to that, okay? The doctor lies.
Committing sins.
We
were just talking about the 7 deadly sins. How to commit them all at once.
No. So anyway, the doctor takes the badge of the examiner. He's knocked on the back of the head, and Ben and Polly succumb to mercury fumes. There's a bunch of mercury pools.
Especially Polly.
Yeah.
She loses all consciousness. Someone hit the doctor on the back of the head.
That's what I said. Yeah. And
who hit the doctor on the back of his head?
Well.
And why?
Bregan.
Why would Bregan want the doctor to pose as the examiner?
I don't think he wanted the doctor to pose the examiner. I don't think he thought that he'd do that, but he wanted the doctor out of the way.
Because he was framing him. He put the scientist, Quinn's lapel pin in his hand.
Right.
I remember that.
So
that doesn't come on till I lost that train of plot.
Okay, so the doctor, Ben and Polly are found by people from the colony.
That's why it's an interesting episode. You just
Correct.
finished it and I'm still going, oh.
It's a really good serial. The Power of the Daleks is a fantastic serial. Anyway, so they find the Dr. Ben and Polly, they take him to the colony, and the doctor masquerades as the examiner from Earth. And he's trying to figure out what's going on. They say, oh, you must want to see, what's his name, Lethbredder?
The scientist?
Yeah.
Something like that. I wrote down everyone's name but his.
Littner, something like that. Littner listens, or Listener listens. Listener. Remember? Listener listens, or something like that.
It's not listener.
You don't know anything else? You didn't write it down. How did you not write it down?
I don't know.
You're supposed to be taking copious amounts of notes.
I wrote down everyone else's
Okay.
name.
Listener or Littner or something. Anyway.
Listen, Littner. It's an exercise of the tongue.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so the very first beginning of this whole thing is the Doctor regenerates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
He regenerates from...
So this is an animation. We're 3 episodes into his first season, and we still haven't seen him. 3 serials into his first season. Still haven't seen him live action. When's the first live action episode of the second Doctor?
Okay, first of all, he just became the Doctor. It's not like the other 2 serials he was the Doctor. He just became the Doctor.
But we still haven't seen him.
You see just a smidgen of him at the end of the previous serial, The 10th Planet. But
there are no lines spoken.
Correct. Anyway, so
When did we get to see him in live action?
Okay.
What's the first non-scrapped episode?
okay, this one is animated.
Mm-hmm.
The Highlanders is a reconstruction. So not the next one. The one after that, the Underwater Menace, we get to see him proper. So not next week, the
5
week after.
serials and the...
His third serial, because he wasn't the Doctor in the first two
this
serials.
is his season.
It's not really his season until now. Alright. But, so the Underwater Menace, we get to see him,
So, like,
because that and the Moon Base were found.
Halfway through his first season. So when I see him
No,
live action.
it's not his season until he becomes the Doctor.
But this is his first season.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is his first serial.
Yes. And his first season.
Yes.
But we don't get to see like a live action serial like until 5.
No,
serials
until
in-
3. You can't count the first two. The first two were the
of
first
his
Doctor.
first season.
Anyway, so the Doctor regenerates, and the Doctor's being fairly enigmatic. Not necessarily willing to cop up to the fact that he's still the Doctor, although Polly knows. Polly can tell he's the Doctor, and the Daleks can tell he's the Doctor.
Why is that? They recognized him. Do they have the same Time Lord's sense of other Time Lords?
They can tell he's a time traveler. Time travelers can tell other time travelers. That's established later.
Were the
on.
Daleks time traveling at that point though?
Yeah, remember in the chase they had the time traveling machine.
Was that
they
not a
followed the
future
Doctor through all that.
generation of the Daleks? Because we're still on the Daleks that can't walk off of metal surfaces for very long. So
Correct.
that's just like one generation.
But it's
beyond the first
it's still
generation
in Daleks.
of Daleks. There's the first time we meet the Daleks, Skaro.
The Daleks, that's the
Yeah,
name
the
of the
Daleks.
series.
And those Daleks can't walk at all without a metal surface. So these Daleks, they also need an energy supply, but now they have like batteries, they can store it up a little bit, walk on non-metal. So that's probably like this V2 Mark II Dalek machine. And then eventually the Daleks get to the point where, you know, they don't even need metal surfaces to walk on anymore, and that's when they invade Earth, and they're walking off with metal surfaces. And I thought, you know, have they been time traveling this whole time, or did they not develop time travel until like a few?
Well, no, in the
Like
chase they have
generations
time travel.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is not clearly explained, and we don't know where in the Daleks' evolution this occurs.
And there are like upgrades that the Daleks make over time.
Eventually they can fly.
So you think they're time traveling at this point, even though they're still on like their kind of metal surface walking technology?
Essentially, because they're early on, yeah.
Mhm.
It's just, this is Troughton.
But do they have time travel yet, do you think?
I don't know, we'll have to find out later on.
So this was a Dalek capsule that crash landed and has been buried under Mercury for like
Right.
200 years.
The metal, Dalектanium,
Yes.
doesn't rust.
Dalектanium.
Dalектanium, yeah.
Is that why they're called Daleks? Or is that why the
No,
metal's
no,
called
no.
Dalek?
It's called Dalектanium because of the Daleks.
Okay.
They're not called Daleks because
It's-
of Dalектanium.
uncorrodable.
Doesn't rust, doesn't succumb to moisture or weather or oxidation or mercury.
Mercury like
It's all good.
roads. And you ever see those YouTube videos of people like dripping mercury on an aluminum foil can, and they'll come back and it just like turns to paper, it just crumbles like that. It's
No.
interesting. It's cool. It just like eats through the metal and it turns into ash.
This is why you should not handle mercury with your
Yeah.
bare hands.
It's fascinating though how it just, and people put it on like padlocks and they'll leave and they'll come back an hour later and they'll just do that with the padlock and it turns to dust.
People do this on YouTube.
Yeah.
I guess if we're doing this on YouTube, anybody can do anything on YouTube.
But it's cool, like a thief can see a padlock, drip some mercury on it, scratch the coating, drip some mercury into it, come back an hour later and just it turns to dust. Don't do that. But
Yeah, this is your
interesting.
tip. The more you know, yeah.
It's interesting.
Alright, so anyway, Doctor's changed, and he becomes, like I said, the second Doctor with the recorder there. He looks kind of like Mo from the Three Stooges.
Mm-hmm.
He acts very enigmatic and distant, and he refers to the first Doctor several times as the Doctor.
And he's the Examiner.
He's the examiner. Now, well, they call him the doctor also, but for back then, they were trying to create confusion as to what who the doctor was. For modern times, we understand that the doctor is a title as well as a name, and the doctor is not sure if his personality would allow him to claim the title of doctor. Because he may have a personality or a need that forces him to be somebody else
like
and not be good enough, right? Like the War Doctor, or at one point, Tennant almost had to do something where he could not call himself the Doctor because it was too cruel.
So the Doctor could regenerate and then have like murderous cravings. He could generate into a bad person.
In theory, yes. In practicality, no. Although the Sixth Doctor, the one with the ascot at the top on the left there,
He does a lot of lying and stealing.
He chokes his companion in his first episode. Literally, it's dark.
Like he's still a doctor. Is that when they revived it after the show was getting too dark, and then they made the children's show and the adults?
That's later. That's later. This is when they.
But it was on its darker curve.
Kind of. The 80s was not a good time for Doctor Who necessarily. There were some good parts of the 80s, but the 70s was so much better. The golden era of Doctor Who. Anyway, we're still in the 60s. We're on the first year of Troughton. So the Doctor, Ben, and Polly go to the colony. They meet the governor and Bragdon or whatever. Reagan and Quinn. Quinn's the lieutenant governor.
Mm-hmm.
They meet Quinn and the lady's name? Janie. That's the lady scientist. And the scientist's name is?
Oh no, Janley.
Janley.
And
what's the scientist's name?
Lester.
How did you not get this? He's like so components with this.
How did you not get it?
I'm not keeping notes. that I'm drinking.
I'm not too.
So anyway,
Lester, listen. Let's say Lester.
Lester?
Yeah. You don't think so?
I don't think it's Lester, but anyway, Lester. Yeah. So the Doctor goes in as quote unquote the examiner.
Lester.
And apparently they found the space capsule. The scientist Lesnar found the space capsule, and he's trying to get into the space capsule. At the same time, there's a whole bunch of political stuff going on with the colony, where there's some rebels headed by Bragdon and Janley, who are trying to overthrow the governor in some sort of,
political coup.
Communist, socialist, political coup, whatever. Anyway, so that's all baking underneath the surface. And the Doctor, as the examiner, gives Lesnar permission to open up the capsule. Turns out the capsule contains Daleks.
And has already been opened.
Yes, Lester had already opened it, and he secured a Dalek to the side for experimentation. So the Doctor, Ben, and Polly are trying to stay out of the fray of the local politics, while at the same time stopping the Daleks. The Daleks are eventually animated by Lesnar, at least one of them. Which then helps to animate the other Daleks.
He shoots his lab assistant.
Yeah, he shoots. What was his name?
Lab assistant?
Recno or Renko?
Valner or something.
No, it was a different guy. It was the guy who laid the.
Anyway, when shoots his lab assistant.
You're keeping horrible notes.
I've been drinking.
Well, yeah.
They said his name like once. Shoots him. That's our second death on episode 2. Following the tradition of one death per episode for the first 4 episodes.
Towards the end of this, it looks like Chicago. Lots of deaths everywhere,
Lesnar thinks his lab assistant's only incapacitated from
Right, in the
charge.
hospital.
And then
Because Jan Lee tells him that.
Yeah. But it's not true. He died.
Mm-hmm.
And she's using his death as political blackmail against the scientist.
Right. It's because Renko correctly surmised the Daleks were intelligent and dangerous. So they killed him.
Who's Renko?
The lab assistant who was
Oh.
killed. So he correctly surmised the Daleks were...
Renko?
I think so. Renko?
That doesn't sound...
You didn't write it down. We're going with the
Right.
Renko. I think it was Renko.
Okay.
Anyway. So Renko, the lab assistant, correctly... Renko or whomever, the lab assistant, correctly surmised the Daleks were dangerous and intelligent and watching them. So they killed him. And Jan Lee lied to Lesnar that she said they just injured him, but he was fine. He was recovering in the hospital.
Took a day off.
Yeah, she's a bad guy. Anyway, so Lesnar continues with the experiments, and the Daleks come up. I am your servant. I am your servant.
They take the phaser off of it.
Yeah, they take the kill. Okay, much later in the 21st century stuff, you have a flashback to that when the Daleks are like, I am your soldier.
Oh.
And it's like, holy crap, they're referencing this, and it was so awesome.
Cool.
And it's during, not Rose. It's during Amelia Pond, and it's really good. Wait. No, is it Rose? It is during Rose. That's where we get Captain Jack. No, wait. No, it is Amelia Pond. Anyway, sorry. I'm drunk. Alright, no, it's during Amelia Pond. It's way down there. Down there. Anyway, but they echo that with I am your soldier instead of I am your servant. And it's really eerie. Like this was eerie. So anyway, the Daleks claim to be servants. They're not, obviously. They're just trying to get power and materials for their own machinations. And Dr. Ben and Polly are trying to stop them. But all the political stuff is happening with the rebels and the governor and Bragdon. Bragan. So Bragan gets Quinn out of the way. Quinn's the lieutenant governor.
They throw him in prison.
Yeah, they throw him in prison.
They set him up as a rebel because they planted the pin in the doctor's arm when he's knocked out. The button.
Yeah.
And so look,
And Bragan did this. Bragan planted the pin on the doctor. The doctor was knocked out to frame Quinn. So Quinn gets put in the brig. Bragan gets promoted to acting lieutenant governor when the governor goes off and surveys the rest of the colony. So Bragan is in control, and he turns it over to Hanyak. He gets the rebels to rebel because he's apparently the leader of the rebels. Because after they kidnap Polly, so she can have week 4 off, and then Ben has week 5 off. We don't see Polly for week 4. We don't see Ben for week 5. And that's fine. You know, it happens every once in a while. You need a vacation.
Bragan builds his own personal guard.
Right. He builds his own personal guard, and they answer to him, not the governor. And he eventually has the governor killed when the governor comes back from a tour of the perimeter.
Third death, episode 3.
That was episode 5, wasn't it?
5? Maybe
Doesn't the governor die during episode 5?
Then who died in episode 3?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of deaths in here.
There's a bunch, and there's a few in 5, and then just a boatload in 6.
Yeah, seriously,
I lost count.
In 6.
There's at least over 20 deaths on screen.
In 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like 4 deaths an episode.
Anyway, in the meantime, the Daleks convinced Lesnar.
Less.
You need to write down these names. The Daleks convinced Lesnar to give them these materials and power so that they can build a better computer just to predict meteor storms to help the colony keep its satellites in orbit. Lesnar provides them with these materials, and of course it's a ruse for them to create more Daleks. So they've got a Ford style, Henry Ford style production, assembly line creating Daleks, and it's just scary.
This is really the first time we see a full-bodied Dalek outside of the machine. We've seen like glimpses of them, their tentacles, their hands. The very first Dalek episode, we see them kind of take it out in the blanket. You see like its arms. But this showed like them picking up a Dalek and shocking it to life with them.
Yep. And
it's animated.
Yeah.
But
so they've got a whole assembly line creating Daleks, and the Daleks are coming to life.
They have Daleks in like vats, like liquid vats, and they have these fish fryer attachments. They're just kind of like burgers, like deep fried burgers. They flip them out, and they take it out, and they shock it, and toss it in the bin.
They put it in the Dalek casing.
Trash can thing.
Pepper
like
pots.
Fast food restaurants. Making french fries.
Deep fried Dalek?
Yeah. And like the chemical vat. They have a little french fryer strainer attachment.
They do.
Toilet plunger.
So
and one has like the shock fork attachment.
So they get the Daleks out of the Dalek goo vat, and they create a whole bunch of Daleks, and they're about to take over the planet. Yeah. Dalek 10, 12, 11, whatever. And then they're about to take over the planet. The rebels have already conquered and defeated the governor. They've killed him.
They shot the governor.
Yeah, they shot the governor with the Dalek. The rebels are fighting the guards. And the Daleks are like, well, we're waiting until they start killing each other. When they're killing each other, and they're horribly killing each other, we'll move in, they'll be weak, and we'll take over. Which is actually a good plan.
It's a really good plan. They like pose that they're on the side of the rebels, and they pose that they're on the side of the guard. And they go and shoot some guards, and the rebels are like, yay, and then they shoot some rebels, they're like, oh no!
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
Just in the madness and the fray, the Daleks come in. Because the Daleks are impervious to the human bullets. Projectile weapons, and then they're just phasering people.
And they kill Janley, and eventually they kill Brayton. But the Daleks were able to move around.
Those are multiple deaths. So
yeah, 5 and 6, lots of death. Children's show, lots of death. They're able to move around because they created a coil, a circuit of coil around to allow them to access their static electricity, which powers them outside of the ship.
So Daleks need to walk on metal surfaces, but shouldn't they be able to roll on carpet too? Because that creates static.
Well, they can roll on other surfaces for a period of time because they can store up electricity.
Yeah.
But if they're off of the metal surfaces, static electricity long enough, they run out of power.
They should just carpet their spaceships to create static. And balloons and carpet. Dalek's best friend. They need all that static.
They more need they need a metal surface like for bumper cars.
Static.
Yeah, bumper cars. You know, you ever play bumper cars with the little pole?
That's not like static.
Yeah, it's transfer.
It's like an electric rail station. Like
rails. Yeah, but that's why they need the metal floor and they need that whole thing. You know,
static's weird.
Yes.
Can't really conduct. But the Daleks figured out static.
Apparently. Anyway, so eventually the Doctor figures out a way to stop their energy input after he's imprisoned, and gets out of prison by using the recorder and the glass of water to hit the right note to open the prison door.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it. Anyway, This is not fine crystal. This is just glass.
On Valentine's Day, I went to Walmart and bought some like cheap wine glasses, and they were totally crystal. I was doing that, and they're all
yeah, this is just glass though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the doctor is imprisoned because Bragdon realizes Bragdon shot the proper examiner, so he knew he was a fake.
But just until now, he had gathered the evidence
against him
to throw the doctor.
Right, so the doctor goes to prison.
The governor.
We're doing this so poorly.
The governor left the base.
Poorly. Right.
Reagan throws the doctor in prison.
We're so drunk. So yeah, bringing the governor goes out to the outer line reaches to make sure everything's okay. He puts Reagan in control. Reagan ends up organizing a coup. The governor comes back. He shoots the governor. In the meantime, the doctor's put in prison. The doctor gets out, thanks to use of water glasses.
With Quinn. Quinn and the doctor gets out.
Quinn.
The formal lieutenant.
Right, and his recorder. And eventually they help stop the Daleks by turning off the power source and overloading a circuit.
So in a way...
So Daleks all explode.
The doctor's recorder is like his sonic screwdriver. Because that's how he gets through doors.
We haven't seen the sonic screwdriver yet. Don't even
We
say
have.
that.
The first doctor had a screwdriver.
No.
And now the second doctor has a recorder. It just
the second doctor starts a sonic screwdriver.
And he has a recorder. The second doctor starts a sonic screwdriver?
Yes.
From the recorder?
3 more serials.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he also has a recorder.
Right.
And he totally just tossed away the first doctor's ring.
2 more serials. In the Underwater Menace, we see the sonic screwdriver in the Underwater Menace. It's the first appearance of the sonic screwdriver.
So the first doctor had his ring, right? This like signet ring.
Yes, the one that helped open the TARDIS.
Yes, this is like a secret key. It was part of his whole aesthetic. Doctor regenerates, tosses the ring.
But it doesn't fit him because he's physically different as well as skillfully different and personality different. Because he has a whole different personality. He can do the recorder, like all sorts of other things.
He doesn't even have any of his memories of the previous generation.
Okay, you bring up a good point. When the doctor regenerates, he is somewhat incapacitated for a period of time. He may lose memories temporarily. He may lose cognizance temporarily. He may lose
existential crisis, disassociation.
Okay, that's
he refers
much
to his
later.
Previous generation as
much
a different
later.
person, though.
Well, partly because he's trying to determine if he's going to take the name of the doctor. He's determining if he's good enough. But anyway, that'll come much later.
Does it ever annoy you how he doesn't explain anything to his companions, thus also explaining things to us, the viewer?
He'll do that eventually.
He just leaves the companions and us as the viewer to figure it out.
Okay, anyway, the doctor also has to recuperate, and while he's recovering, he has extra regeneration energy, which can do miraculous things, but he also is fairly not himself yet, if that makes sense. He's neither here nor there. He's working his way from here to there, and it can be problematic.
So let's talk about the diary he was reading of the previous doctor.
The 500-year diary.
500-year doctor?
Yeah.
Does that mean that Hartnell was that generation of the doctor was alive for 500 years?
We don't know.
Or is that a diary of like previous regenerations as well?
Okay. First of all, we don't know how old exactly at this point Hartnell was. We don't know how old the doctor is even with Troughton as of yet. We will find out later on that they have been alive around that long, but we don't know yet, and we don't know where in the diary, the 500-year diary, they are. He seems to be reading from about 250 years in, but we don't know. And the age of the doctor seems to change several times, partly because they go from, once Gallifrey is destroyed, spoilers, they go
like Krypton.
Well, yeah, he seems to go from Gallifreyan years to Earth years, so he goes from like 1100 years old to 900 years old because they count it in different ways. Yeah, that's much later on.
Let's
Okay.
talk about how the doctor said he needs the TARDIS to survive. What is that? Does every Time Lord need a TARDIS to survive? So like every Time Lord has their
Okay.
individual TARDIS?
Not exactly. Most Time Lords stay on Gallifrey and they don't travel around in TARDISes. But this is the early days of the Doctor. This is the early days of regeneration. So they kind of use the TARDIS as a catch-all for his regeneration. They don't explain it any other way. They don't explain it until much later. But it does help the Doctor to be in or near the TARDIS when he regenerates. It helps him to regenerate more cleanly and faster.
He went so far as to say he can't survive without it. Does that change?
He's exaggerating.
Oh, okay.
Rule number 1, the Doctor lies.
It also explains, it hints a little bit at the TARDIS' sentience. Because he's talking to it.
Yeah.
What happened when he was talking to the control panel? I'm stuff.
No, you finished it. There's only one more cookie.
I ate so many cookies.
I ate so many cookies.
That's your
finish it.
cookie.
No, I had I had the penultimate cookie. You have the ultimate cookie.
Well, you just put it in there.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll just save it for later.
Yeah, there you go. You eat the cookie. Eat the cookie.
So, in the first episode, he's talking to the TARDIS, and he's addressing the control panel, and he's telling the control panel to come here.
No, I think he's
It
telling
does.
Ben and Polly to come here.
Okay.
But yeah, but the TARDIS has sentience, and you know that as it goes on. And that's why the Doctor goes to
And
places where he's needed all
Chests
the time.
that appear with all of his misadventure collectibles.
Oh yeah.
That was just Hartnell apparently that collected things.
Well, Hartnell was
Because
the
he
only
said-
Doctor up till then, so
He said, he was a collector.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
looking at
And he pulls out
past
the
adventures, the sword from the...
oh, there's a name for that kind of dagger. Not a dirk, a
Passion. Something. And then he starts, and he's referencing the diary, and he's talking about Marco Polo.
yeah. All right. So anyway, the Doctor turns off the Daleks by turning off the power energy, overloading it, and they all explode. He, Ben, and Polly gets at the TARDIS. The bad guy is dead by the hands of the Daleks. And Quinn, the Lieutenant Governor, is going to rebuild the colony with the help of everyone who still remains. And the Doctor, Ben, and Polly leave. And then it looks like one of the Daleks may be surviving, in a cliffhanger. But that's the 6 episodes of
Does it ever go back to that?
Power of the Daleks, huh? Spoilers. Alright, what's your next question? We are so off topic today.
So we talked about the
talking
animation, new Doctor, link between the TARDIS and the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, Ben knew from Hartnell's Doctor that you check the control panels to check the temperature and oxygen content outside, and the Doctor just marches off without doing that. And Ben's like, "You haven't checked the oxygen and temperature or anything. How do you know it's safe outside?" And he stops and he recites to him all the conditions of the outside weather and just keeps walking. How did he know that? Is that one of his miraculous post-generation abilities?
Time Lords have special abilities, and apparently iterations of Time Lords have different special abilities. And the Doctor in this
It's like
case...
an RPG. Would you play a Doctor Who video game?
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Board game with special abilities? You'd have like...
There's a role-playing game
Different-
for Doctor Who. That
Like
would
a
be
D&D
amazing.
roleplay?
There's a role-playing game. It's kind of complicated, but it exists. Anyway, so apparently this iteration of the Doctor has 2 possibilities. One, he has the ability to tell all this just by tasting the weather.
He just...
Yeah. 2, he's lying out his ass, but...
But he predicted the mercury content.
He did, and he predicted the temperature, so we have to go with the former explanation.
And oxygen
Yeah,
content.
and 86 is not that hot. We had 98 today. I mean, Brits in your cold weather.
And then we talked about the diary The Doctor referencing other generations, but being disassociated from them. We talked about the evolution of the Daleks and the technology that they improve on throughout every time we see them.
They do.
But this is like a previous generation of the Daleks we see as per more advanced Daleks we've seen in some episodes.
Well, I don't think they've gotten to Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150. I don't think we're into 2150 yet, even though we're on even though we're on Vulcan, because the human race doesn't know widely about Daleks yet. I think if it was after 2150, they would know about it because of the invasion. So I gotta think we're somewhere in the late 2000s.
So this is humanity's first interaction with the Daleks?
On a wide scale, thus far, yes.
So,
but later on it happens earlier and earlier.
They have this Dalek technology, this Dalektanium, which could revolutionize their space travel, and these highly advanced weapons, phasers that can shoot through 2 inches of tungsten metal. And the scientist said that he could attach a switch to that to activate it.
Yeah, he was wrong.
Yeah. So humanity never integrates any of that technology they have from these destroyed Daleks. Is that
maybe? Everything happens eventually.
Yeah. And we talked about why did the Dalek recognize the Doctor? Because maybe they just knew he was time traveling. That fresh time travel scent.
Well, he probably reacted to the Daleks in the way someone who knew about them would. So we don't know if they knew he was the Doctor specifically, or we don't know if they knew that he was just simply a person who knew what they were, because the way he reacted, the same way they killed Rosen,
assistant scientist,
right? Because he feared them,
intelligence,
and feared their intelligence the way someone should. So maybe they reacted to the Doctor in that fashion, not because he was specifically the Doctor. Yeah.
Do no harm.
Yeah.
Do you fear our impending robot uprising?
Yeah, I'm 50. I'm gonna die here eventually. I don't fear a whole lot anymore.
It's future people problem.
Yeah, it's a future people problem. Your generation problem.
What about economically? How they're affecting, jobs like, entry level jobs, college jobs. Like they're taking out baggers and cashier jobs at Walmart. They have the self checkout. They're taking out like fry cook jobs at restaurants. They're automating order systems. Like you have those kiosks at McDonald's. Do you think that's going to hurt our economy?
The biggest problem that's causing that
is raising
minimum wage. Exactly. You move minimum wage of $15. Those have to be automated, and that takes the human element out of it. Seattle is suffering from this problem, as are several other cities have gone to $15 minimum wage. Bunch of restaurants have closed or raised their prices drastically. Bunch of others have gone automated.
New York City, they raised minimum wage to $15. Then people start complaining about food prices increasing. Well,
there you go. Yeah.
When
I was when Lisa and I were in Paris recently, you go up, you don't talk to a person. There's a tablet that you type on what you want, and then you go to the counter and deal with an individual, and they take the payment's already at the thing, but then they give you your food. But most of it's automated, and that's because people were priced out of jobs, because what you have to do for an employee in France is insane,
But you don't think that happened eventually anyway, despite rising minimum wage, because of the cost of cheaper technology and just the benefits of automating those things, kind of like they did with the assembly line. They just have robots doing that instead of people putting cars together.
I don't know. It's okay, especially for service industries. People like interacting with people. Okay, if I'm going to hire somebody to wash my car, whatever, I want to talk to that person. If I'm going to hire somebody to mow my lawn, I want to interact with that person. If I'm going to be at a restaurant, I want to talk to the waiter. Eventually, if all that gets priced out, it'll be automated. But most people like and want human interaction, at least in my generation. I don't know about you millennials.
See, the millennial generation is just price of service, because you have these niche markets like American-owned, family business operated service with a smile, but everything that's machine operated brings the cost of the product way down. These big chains like Walmart is putting like these mom and pop stores out of business.
Well, I mean, that's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
But
And it's increasing.
it's more Amazon now.
Yes, because technology. Also, IBM Watson, they're coming up with artificial, machine learning technology, which is supposed to not only affect the manufacturing business, but also is going to be affecting things like, they're making machines that can diagnose illnesses and like lawyer artificial intelligence, like UI.
If you got rid of all the human lawyers, I'd be happy. That's fine, Except maybe Ted Cruz. I don't know.
Just having machines lawyering.
I hate lawyers. I hate lawyers. Anyway, but the point is that I have no clue about millennials. I'm not a millennial. I believe they're overall fairly lazy, and they have no get up and go. They have no gumption. They have no want to get it done.
I feel so attacked right now.
Not you, your bloody generation. You're part of it, but it's not you specifically. But who knows? We don't know. We'll see how it all plays out.
See, this current generation, or current generations, the generation that wants customer service and human interaction and service with a smile is already being affected by these self-checkout lines at Walmart. Because you're not getting human interaction doing that.
Well, I'd say
but
that
it's
it's Generation
faster.
X, my generation.
So do you do the self-checkouts?
I try not to. I
Me too.
prefer a human being.
I also just don't want to bag my own groceries if I'm paying for a service.
I just prefer a human being. I really do. Okay. How the hell do we get there from here?
We're talking about robots and technology.
Okay.
So we have $1 episode per $1 cereal per season so far.
Right. And this season, season 4, we have a second one. The Evil of the Daleks is the final serial this season. Even the Power of the Daleks is also in the season. So we'll get 2 this year.
Do we ever find out what the law of the Daleks is? Because that's referenced in the 6th episode.
It's kill everything inferior to Daleks, which is pretty much everyone else in their opinion. And we must obey them. What's the next
That's the law of the Daleks. So the Doctor sabotages their power supply. Why does that make the Daleks explode?
No, he overloads the power.
He overloads it.
Yeah.
It's like the plot point in Star Wars where they blow up the episode 1 of the prequels. You have the droids fighting the Gungans, and then they blow up the Space Command Center, and just that causes all the robots to power down.
Oh yeah, they didn't have any power anymore. But they didn't explode because they weren't overpowered. Yeah. Why do you have to reference episode 1? Oh. At least it's not Disney Star Wars. Disney Star Wars sucks balls.
Yeah. The prequels might be worse.
But no, the prequels are bad, but they're still better than the Disney Star Wars movies.
The episode 1 of the prequels is pretty bad, but that Darth Maul fight made up for a lot. It was cool. I like Darth Maul. The first time you're introduced to the dual lightsaber, you have all this actual fighting coordination, not just like CGI everything.
Yeah.
I like the lightsaber fights.
It
All
still
the
bad.
plot and the
They're still
characters
bad.
and the writing,
Yeah.
the dialogue was pretty bad, but the fight scenes were great.
Okay, what's your next question? You have a next question, right?
The Dalek that exploded. We covered most of them while we were doing the recap.
Okay.
Cartoony animation, new
Well,
Doctor.
okay. Once again, the animation is not perfect, but I will do that over reconstruction any day of the week. I will pay money. If you're listening to BBC, I will pay money for the animations. I will pay money for the Blu-rays. Just get it done, even if it takes years. I don't care. Do it. I will pay the money. Okay, as many fans will, just to have it.
Link between TARDIS and the Doctor knowing temperature and oxygen contents, 500-year diary, Doctor refers to previous generations of people. What evolution of Daleks? New power from the floor. Why did Daleks recognize the Doctor? Daleks cereal every season. New race of Daleks. Oh, new race of Daleks. What is that? They're manufacturing Daleks. They refer to it as a new race of Daleks.
Well, I think because the previous Daleks have been destroyed.
So, was this capsule, an escape pod from? Because the Daleks,
don't know.
The first time we met the Daleks, they won. They set off the neutron bomb, right? Or did they? They didn't. Did they?
Hold on.
The very first time we meet the Daleks on Skaro,
they pretty much win. They're consigned to Skaro.
Right, but they set off the neutron bomb, and they get all the radiation they need. So Daleks need radiation and static?
It changes. It seriously changes.
Depends on their technology.
Well, yeah, at the time. The technology changes.
So these Daleks, they don't need radiation, they just need the static.
Currently,
but the first time we saw the Daleks, they need the radiation and the contact with the metal floors.
Right.
And they don't have like a power supply. Whereas the Cybermen, they hate radiation.
Right.
Do the Daleks and the Cybermen ever team up?
Yes.
Does that create conflicts?
They fight each other eventually, and they team up eventually.
I liked when the Daleks fought the big round robots when we met Steven for the first time.
The Autons. Yes.
That was cool. I like robots fighting.
Cool. Okay, but anyway, so the episodes are being animated, and based on the characters they have to animate and the extras they have to animate. And I'm hoping they continue to come with everything on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got 2 seasons of the 4th Doctor, 1 of the 5th Doctor, and there's going to be 1 of the 6th Doctor coming out later this year. Trial of the Time Lord.
But we're going to pass over those before they come out.
Well, no, they keep coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But they're slowly but surely animating the old stuff, seasons 1 through 6, what's missing, so they can put it out on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And right now they're seriously working on season 3. Hopefully they finish it up. Season 4. Hopefully they finish it up so they can put it out on Blu-ray. And they only have Marco Polo from season 1 and the Crusade from season 2, so hopefully they'll do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then
watch those, though.
Yeah, well. But we can revisit them in animation if we want to.
I don't think we're going to run out of content soon.
Well, no.
Before we have to start revisiting.
Well, that's the question.
Maybe after we regenerate, we need the file there.
But that's part of the question is we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If we wait until November 19th, November 19th, right?
I think so.
Yeah, when they release
November 12th, 19th.
November 19th, when they release the Macra Terra,
mm-hmm.
we may have several weeks we don't have a serial. We don't have an episode of Drummer Who.
So we can watch the documentary?
Right, docudrama. Okay, so we may continue straight with our episodes directly with the serials. Or because there may be a wide gap with the Macra Terra releasing November 19th, we may go ahead and watch The Adventure of Space and Time, which is the docudrama about the First Doctor, which would be fitting considering we just finished up the First Doctor stuff. If we do that, then our episode numbers will for the first time be disengaged from the serial numbers, but that's fine because eventually it's going to happen anyway with all the spin-offs as we watch the spin-offs and everything is separated regardless, and so probably we may do that way unless life intervenes otherwise. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to see more robot fights. What do you think of the Daleks versus Votan? That'd be a cool fight.
Never happens.
I'm gonna write some fan fiction.
Oh.
Do you mind? Not that kind of fan fiction.
Write whatever fan fiction you want and end up like 50 Shades of Grey. Or
No. Just Votan versus the Daleks.
Did you ever see the porno 50 Shades of Gay?
No?
Okay.
Why would I watch that?
Just asking.
What are you trying to say? Have you?
No. But it's out there. Trust me. Yeah. Alright. Okay, do you have any other questions?
I think we covered them all. Let me double check.
Cool.
We covered all the questions. Half of them during the recap, the other half post recap.
Oh my
We got
gosh.
plenty off topic with rising technology, and we talked about U.S. territories.
We are so drunk.
And civil wars,
Way off topic. Anyway,
succession, political stuff. Fun
Well,
stuff.
there-
Conclusion, pretty great episode. It's all
It
the
was a good
politics.
serial. It was a
It's all
really
the
good
politics in this serial that got me thinking of like what ifs in the U.S. politics, and
Correct.
we usually talk about Brexit.
True. So we may or may not soon slip off of the number count directly with these Doctor Who serials in terms of our episode count, depending on whether or not we watch Adventure Space and Time as not a filler episode, but as an episode while we're waiting for the Macra Terror to come up on DVD as animated. But either way, it's all good.
What if we watch the docudrama as a full podcast episode, but we only title the episode 30.5 or some odd, so that way we can still keep our numbers in line with the
problem is once we get to the modern
serial
stuff
numbers.
and we do Torchwood and Serbian Adventures and K9 and Class and all that, we would really veer off those numbers.
So it doesn't matter.
So in the short term, it will keep us on track if we did that. In the long term, it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
This docudrama is coming to you in the
eventually,
near future.
maybe we'll see what life throws our way. If not, if life doesn't throw any curveballs our way, then great. Adventure Space and Time.
Mm-hmm.
If it does,
Baron Munchausen.
very much. What are you about? Very much.
Adventures in Time and Space of Baron Munchausen.
Stop messing with the cashew. Alright.
What if we just get like some arm sleeves? And did someone just put a knife in this or something?
You keep putting pens in that. is what
Several
you do.
knife stabs.
Yeah, you keep putting pens in there.
I'm gonna knit like an arm sleeve cover.
Okay. Alright. See you next time. Thank you
next
so
time.
much for joining us. And next week will be the Highlanders, where we get to be
Highlanders.
Jamie McCrimmon.
can be only one.
Jamie McCrimmon, one of the best of the old
Highlander.
companions.
Be
Alright.
only one.
Yeah. You gotta give up.
So we're gonna have 3 companions?
What?